We just finished an interview with Coach White, the men's basketball coach at Pierce College. The interview started with a little bit of a stumble. My speech impediment popped up, but the interview was great. I'm really excited to catch up with Coach White. Coach White and our journey started when I was one of his officials. When you start early on in your sort of basketball career, I think everyone grows up wanting to be an NBA player. You started just want to be around the game. And one of my first jobs after when I was done with my playing career is I just started officiating. And Coach White and I met. I worked for a brief time at the YMCA, just sort of helping out, refereeing, and eventually, I helped out with some of these teams. But Coach White was a great mentor, leader. He was an assigner. We just sort of built this relationship over the years. We sort of had our teams play in their league. And we just, the thing about coaching in the basketball community, it's a small community. I always like to tell young coaches is that we're not here to burn bridges. I know you might have times where you might have an argument with another coach or it gets competitive. You might have a history where maybe that coach, they beat you all the time or there's a rivalry, whatnot. But you guys got to get over that. I mean, it's in the end, it's what's best for the kids. And Coach White touch in this interview touches on a lot of different stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this interview with Coach White, the men's basketball coach at Pierce College. I don't know if I said it right. Coach White, please don't get mad. You can see in the beginning of the interview, Coach sort of gets after me a little bit and corrects me, which is, we're coaches. I mean, that's sort of our job is to make the person in front of us better. And Coach did a great job. And I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. We're joined by Coach White, the head basketball coach at Pierce College. How are you doing today, Coach?
Hey, Caleb, I hate to do it to him again. Because you say head basketball coach. If somebody's listening, they're gonna say, "Is he doing women or men?" So you gotta say head men's basketball coach.
Head men's basketball coach, Coach White.
Um,
How's it going today, Coach?
good, good. I'm looking forward to seeing you, man. I
So,
didn't mean to critique you on that one, but
not
because
at,
sometimes
you're coaching, you're coaching me. I just said us coaches, we're always trying to elevate and make each other better. So it's totally
that's
fine.
right. Yeah, yeah. So,
So
so the
before I
next
get
guy.
started, I like to ask you, who's your GOAT? I mean, who do you look your star as a coach you've always sort of looked up to? Who's your personal GOAT?
Yeah. Uh, Human.
Give me either or.
Well, I'm a Christian. I believe in Christ, God. So I always look up. I always look up. Now somebody that's on earth, I, you know, I have a lot of them. Yeah, guys I respect, guys have been in the game a long time. Uh, One of the guys who just passed away not too long ago, I think you might know him. We all know him. His name was Mike Law. Did you know?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so we did
absolutely.
a celebration of life for him here at Pierce College. So I got the honor. The guys asked me, could I put it on? And it was a no-brainer for me because he is one of the guys that I've been in California about 45 years. And he was one of the guys I met right off the bat. Playing basketball, and we became friends over the year. So
And that's how those relationships started. I mean, I feel lucky I met you when I was working for you, reffing for you years ago, and I always, enjoyed working for you.
yeah,
So tell me about your coach's journey. How did it start? And
and, I was like not a lot of people. Coming out of high school, I went to college. I played basketball in college. Never thought about coaching. I mean, hindsight, I wish I would have, back in the day. But I was all about playing basketball. Um, I moved to California. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. Uh, After playing, well, I played at an NAIA school in Kansas. Then I moved here chasing the high school sweetheart, and
how did
uh,
that go?
well, she stayed, I stayed, and she left. So that's not so so. But so I was just became a basketball player, just, weekend warrior, and then I had kids. I had, my oldest son at the time. Probably was 6 or 7, probably 6. And I had him in football, basketball, and track. And this guy came along, old friend of mine who I played basketball with. He had some athletic sons, and he would say, "Hey man, why don't you help me coach Chatsworth Chiefs?" I'm
Oh
like,
man.
coach. I'm like, man, I wouldn't even think. I'm a basketball player, so I didn't know nothing about it. But so and my kids didn't play right away, so I went to one of the practices up here at Chatsworth High School, and met a few people, um, and I kind of liked it. I liked it, and that's how I got started. Doing that, and then um, he he called me the following year and said, "Hey man, you ready to come back?" I said, "Yeah." So I get there for the first day of practice, and then he called me. He called me when he texted me during that time and said, "Hey man, I can't make it today. Can you run the practice?" I was like, "Okay." So this went on for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
I just, and there was two teams, 11-year-old team and a 12-year-old team. And he, again, that was my first test in coaching, and he dropped the ball on me and never came back. Well,
Wow.
at that time, I had felt had just started a relationship with the kids, and one of the kids I got a relationship with ended up being an All-American. He ended up being an All-American in high school for football and basketball as well as baseball. And
Wow.
he ended up getting a contract to play baseball. And
Wow.
we're still friends today. He's just so that's how I got started coaching.
Can you drop his name or would you?
Yeah, yeah, Junior Brignett. I don't know if you know Junior Brignett. You should know him.
Oh my, I do. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, Junior Brignett, man. I used to have to go pick him up in the projects back in the day, and he was one of the guys who lived in the projects, but kept a 3.3 GPA, almost 3.5, and he could have went anywhere, but he chose baseball because
Mm.
he was a three-sport guy. But that gave me a taste of what it takes to go coach kids because I had to go pick him up because parents didn't bring him out. I had to go pick him up, drive it, take him home. So I'm like, man, what is this? Is this what coaching is all about?
Yes,
So
it is.
yeah, I know you know. So then I jumped over from Chatsworth Chiefs to I got an offer to do the North Valley Bears. I don't
Mm.
know if you remember those. That was during the YMCA days too. Because another part of the story is Daryl McDonald
Yes.
actually hooked me into doing the YMCA. So I started doing it. That's how we met. You and I met.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say
yeah,
that's hard. But you know that
yeah.
correct me that I remember my one of my cousins played for the Chatsworth Chiefs. This is a football team, right? Did they have a basketball or was this a football
The
team?
football team too. Yeah,
Yeah, because
football
I
and
remember the
basketball.
Chatsworth because I used to go to
It,
my cousin's games
it was
back
called
in
the
the
Valley
day.
Conference. Used to
Yeah,
be called the Valley. Remember the Valley Conference back in the day?
absolutely. Back in the
Yeah,
day. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. That
yeah.
was some,
So that was fun. And then but so I was doing the Bears and uh 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 Daryl McDonald was trying to get me with the Cavs, and I was, so we used to go at each other, play against each other,
yeah,
and then I started working for him doing
yeah.
the YMCA, so that's how he got me in. But I was starting my professional coaching career was I was at Seymour High School doing the Bears,
Yes.
and my good friend and still good friends to the day, and we talking about almost over 30 years ago, Border Scoto. He was the head coach who still is the head coach for
That's
Seymour High School,
he's a
and
legend. Strong
yeah,
personality, that guy right there.
oh that's my guy, man, that's my guy. Yeah, you're right. You got to understand it to know him. So I kept saying, "Hey man, y'all win," and we didn't know each other. And he said, "No, we didn't win." I'm like, "Okay." And then I had another practice. I said, "Hey man, y'all win." He would come back from the game. He said, "No, we didn't win." I said, "Dad, man, when y'all gonna win the game?" I was just being, crazy on it. And he said, "Well, if you think you can do better, why don't you come help me?" So that was like in February. In March, he called me. March or April, he called me. He said, "Hey, let's meet for lunch. Let's talk. Let's talk this over." And and that's how I got started. I did 13 years as an assistant coach with him at Seymour High School.
Wow.
Um, from there, I went on to Van Nuys High School as a head coach for almost for 2.5 years. Um, and then I'm going into my then I left there. I'm going into my 15. I said 2.5 because the half of the season I had got let go. for
Mm,
whatever reason, because it's some crazy thing that and that the VP or the AP at the time thought that that I had did something wrong, like let somebody use our gym,
mm,
you know. So we got past that, and we're friends today. We don't get me wrong, we're friends today. So but at that time, the head coach of Pierce College, Ed Bayan, say, "Hey man, I got a job for you if you want it. You want it?" And about two or three coaches reached out to me because they knew I can recruit. You
mm.
know, so he pulled me in, and I'm going into my 15th season here at Pierce College.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how I got started.
Congratulations. So, Coach, I have a couple questions to ask you. One is that the current landscape, I think it was earlier this year, there was the ruling where, correct me if I'm wrong, players have 2 years of junior college and 4 years of eligibility at the four. How has that changed your coaching and what kind of players you're looking for?
The thing it still has not been put in black and
Oh, it
white.
hasn't.
No, no, and we found out kind of like the hard way. You know, one of my guys who did start. If you start out as JC and you exhaust all your eligibility, then you can get 1 year. And the 2 year thing, we're still waiting for that to come down the pipe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you have to start at a JC first
Okay.
in order to. So you can play 2 years at JC and still have 4 years. All right, but you can't. You know, you got to exhaust your all your time. So.
Mm, interesting.
It
Okay. A little
is.
premature on that.
We're still waiting to see in black white. Remember, it was now. I don't know if you know that uh, it was a lawsuit by a football player, and
Mm,
that's how that came about. So the NCAA said, well, we can't just change the rule for a football guy. We got to change it for all sport. So as of right now, I was told in Division One, Division Two, if you exhaust your eligibility and you start out at JC, you get one extra year, not two extra years. You get one extra year. So
oh, wow.
yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Next question I have about how does NIL affect what you do?
it doesn't. I mean, I got, I have one guy this year recently came to me and said, "Coach, I got an NIL deal," and so his people have been reaching out to me. So we still, it's still new, and I don't think it will affect us unless they want to use him in a advertising saying with Pierce College stuff on it. Then
Mm,
that's different.
mm,
So we haven't got to that part yet. So it still remains to be seen.
okay. Next question is what kind of recruit do you look for ideally?
You know, we all want that 6'9", 6'10", 7-footer, 6'6" athlete. Uh, you know, I like the academic guys who are academically sound. You try not to have to worry about them because you know they're going to take care of their business in the classroom. The one thing is, a lot of guys want to be athletes, but they don't want to be student athletes. So we really have to gear to the student athlete. My goal is to always have my sophomores graduate or transfer to the 4 year school after they finish at Pierce.
Mm,
And and we've done a pretty good, good had a good track record of doing that, getting guys out. And sometimes some of the guys these days they can get themselves out, but the main goal is that they transfer. Either they graduate with get their AA degree, or they transfer to their 4 year school.
how
And that
involved are you in the recruiting process of them transferring from to the 4 year?
repeat that again. Say it
How
again.
how involved are you in the recruiting process of
Well,
transferring?
it has changed. The landscape has changed a little bit because of IG. You know, a lot of the guys are putting their own film on IG, and the 4 year schools are looking at it. You know, some of them are taking chances because the film look good, and then and you better be able to produce when you get there.
Yeah.
You know, so and I try to tell these guys, but I try to for the most part, I reach out to a number of scouts, college. If they're Division One guys, you're Division One. But if you ain't a Division One, don't come at me looking at me saying, you don't know no Division One guys. Well, I do, but if you are, or if you are a NAIA guy, That mean you're not a Division I guy. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so so yeah, I try to be involved in as much as I can, especially with the connections that I have. And sometimes you gotta be careful because you send somebody a dump truck and you sold them and they became a dump truck, then you're like, okay. Sometimes then the phone don't they don't they either they don't call you or they don't pick up the phone no more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a question for you. What advice would you give to like a high school player who maybe has struggled at their high school and they're looking to play at the next level in the college? Like how would they go about doing that? It's either working their game or sort of reaching out. They obviously didn't have that success at the high school level, but what advice would you give to them?
You know what? Look, some of these guys, and that's a good question, man. That's a great question, and I appreciate you asking that question because a lot of these guys uh, believe they can just go play in high school, just show up and play, but it's different from college because now you're playing against grown men. You're an 18-year-old kid. Now you're going to play against 21, 22, 23. You got to get in that weight room. You got to work on your conditioning. You got to you may have to hire a trainer. To work on all your skills. And sometimes people don't want to put all that work in, especially parents. They when your kid gets to 18, some of them think, okay, you're done. You go get a job. Go, or if you want to continue playing basketball, then you got to work at it. And so you know, it helps to have supportive parents.
Absolutely.
Supporter. You support them until they grown. If they still in your house, they ain't grown. They still in your house.
I want to ask you a question because I know what this means for me, but you say supportive parents, that means a lot of different things. I know supportive parents, and then there's over-involved parents. Like when you say that specifically, like
Oh, you
at the
talking about
college level,
helicopter parents, huh?
or at the college level versus the high school level. I mean, I know sometimes a supportive parent can be someone who's there, but they're not involved, versus someone who gets the kids space or the space to succeed or fail. When you say supportive parents, ideally, what are you looking for at the college level?
But now, now it's different in college now, because I don't deal with parents. I mean, I've
Parents,
been here
hold on. Do
50,
you hear that? He doesn't deal with parents. This is
15 years. I probably dealt with maybe two parents, and anyone that I have dealt with is because I've been knowing them forever because they're kids. So like I met you, and like Cam's kids. I've been knowing his son. Him
absolutely.
forever. So it
And you
works
said he's
like
doing
that.
great, right? You said he's doing really, really good.
He's hurt. I don't know if he'll play this year because he had to get he didn't get surgery, but he had some knee issues. So, and he's getting it done. But great kid, great kid. He shows up, man. He listens, and uh, I, I wish he wasn't hurt because he's the kind of guard that I would like because he's fast, quick, and he's smart.
Yeah,
So, but
absolutely.
overbearing parents in high school could be a much. Now, I was a different, I was different in high school when I was coaching because I like parents. I didn't have no problem with parents. If you feel like your son was a All American, then I'm gonna put him out there with the All American guys and see what he looked like. And then sometimes you got to show them in order for them to see it. And
Absolutely.
what I mean, and you know what I'm talking about.
I know for me, I have a policy in place where I don't have parents talk to me 48 hours after a game. They can always talk to me, but not right after a game. Do you
And
have
that's a
something?
good policy. That's a good
You have
policy. Yeah,
something in
yeah.
policy in place you can take from your high school time or whatnot? Because I know early on as a young coach, after the game you win, you want to go get pizza and you kind of rehash the game. But there's also a time where this is the long game you're building, and maybe is there something you have in place at all at the college or high school level that was effective for you?
Hmm. Yeah, you're right. That having 40 minutes after a game is perfect.
48,
Yeah,
no,
'cause
no, 48 hours.
40
So
you
I
don't
have
want to say it for 2 days.
well, the thing is that it gives them time more to cool down. And in the end, or what are you arguing about? And and typically, I think you find your sort of team that works for you, or and parents who understand. But it's not one game, it's not one substitution. It's typically that's a buildup. But I don't want someone to talk to me because they're elevated. And after a game, I'm sure when you coach, you're sort of elevated too. I mean, I mean, it's hard not to be. I mean, we both love this. We're doing this for a long time.
We're passionate. You know, say elevator. We're passionate about what we do.
We love the game. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
love being in the gym. I have a couple more questions for you, Coach. You're dealing with adults. Like, how do you, the connection you have with these athletes? They're not kids. They're adults. How do you balance like the development for your team versus their individual sort of accolades and getting, like you said, this sort of press on? How do you balance that? Because it seems like it could be a conflict in terms of balancing that, or no, or
Well, sometimes it can be, again, you said something about they're adults because they're not kids. All right, so I tell, in fact, I'm doing a thing right now because we have our first meeting, first workout on Tuesday. Guys got to be responsible. You got to be accountable. All right. I know that you may be living in your mom's house, dad, but you're still responsible for yourself. You know, and we had an athletic meeting the other day, and it was good. What the counselor said, you missed class. Nobody's gonna call home and say, "Hey, so and so didn't make it to class today." They're not. I'm not gonna call home. The counselor's not gonna call home. We don't have a principal or they're gonna have a VP or a president, they're not going to be calling your house saying, Mike didn't make it to class today. You know where he's at. They're not. So you got to be accountable for your own. And I try to let them be adults. You know, some of them still need guidance. A lot of them need guidance. Uh, and I tell them, I tell them my background. I went and got my, I took the long road, but I got there. I got my bachelor, I got my master's, and that's how I got here. I grind to get here. And you know, Kiki, because you see me back in the day. I think when we first met, I didn't have none of that, and I went on and worked on it. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
worked on it.
yeah,
Didn't think I was going to be right where I'm at today. Again, I didn't think about coaching basketball. I was talking to one of my former players the other day, and he just finished up at a school in Oregon, his 4 years. And I asked him, "Hey man, where you been? What's going on?" He said, "Man, I'm coaching now." And that, yeah. So they got him. He's at a 4 year school. He's going to be the head JV coach.
wow,
Because the NAIs or Division III schools have those uh, JBs and varsity. So, but that's, I mean, for the guy to take, and if you had met him before, Kiki, he's not gonna be a coach. He's not be a coach. He's a clown. He's a clown. And now he's different. He's
yeah,
different. So,
yeah.
that's rewarding seeing guys like that take on the coaching ranks. I wish I would have did it early in my younger days. You know what I mean? But again, I didn't have that guidance. I didn't have that person say, "Hey, you ought to go this way." And
Yeah.
so I figured out a lot of stuff on my own, which was sometimes good, sometimes bad.
But I think it's like that. It's the journey of everything. I have I mean, you brought up so many things I'm thinking about when I was in college because Coach White and I met when I was in college. I went back to school. I was an older student, and I would be in class, and he'd get a text message: "Can you cover this game in McClay? Can you go to Cleveland? And can you hustle over here? We'll hold up the game." And I remember that as a coach, and I think it was very helpful for me when I was a young referee and doing that. I sort of learned the game and sort of the etiquette, how to work with assigners and how to work with coaches, and sort of juggling that. Is there any memorable moments in your early or maybe current coaching careers that sort of stick out that you sort of pull from? I know as coaches, we sort of tell stories while we're practicing. I have a few that I tell. Is there something that like it's sort of you pull from that was sort of your pivot point in your career?
And I don't know if you remember because I kind of left that out, but in between the Chatsworth Chiefs and working, because I was also a Cavs, I worked with the Cavs
Yeah,
for years, but I also started my own AAU program. It
yeah,
was called Mirror the San Fernando Valley Jaguars,
yeah. I remember
and
that. You guys
yeah,
had some squads, man.
yeah, we had yeah. So stories, yeah, I pull from the
When you
Jaguar
could
days,
tell, when you could
huh?
tell, I mean, our audience of 10, you could tell.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, I mean, no. Some of the rewarding things, like I said, is seeing guys graduate from high school,
Hmm.
uh, and if they can further their education and playing days, is seeing that, and then now that I'm a college basketball coach, seeing guys get to their 2 year degree to move on to get their 4 year degree. I had one guy, one of my guys that I do talk about, was a hard working and here at Pierce College. Didn't get a scholarship right off the bat, but he kept grinding, and ended up getting a scholarship to a school out in Washington, NAIA school. In fact, that head coach and I are best friends today because I gave him somebody that came in that was a hard worker. And I don't sugarcoat when I tell coaches I got a guy for you. This what he does when he does. I sell the kid, but I don't sugarcoat it. So and he went on. He went and played very well for them. Graduated. Uh, Kept going education wise, got his master's, and now he's working on his PhD.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was one of the kids that grew up in the YMCA,
Mm,
grew up in the Cavs and Jaguar organization, you
wow.
know, and followed me here to Pierce College, and now he's big time. He's an adult, big time. And I had a couple guys like that. As a guy, one of my guys. You talking about stories? Uh, 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 One of my guys that played on my AAU team years ago. Uh, he was 6'5", 6'6", can play, very athletic, and shoot the ball. Heck, but nobody was pulling the trigger. As far as recruitment, uh, the last day of recruitment was on July 31st. I get a call from Cal State Northridge, Coach Braswell,
Mm,
and he said, "Hey man, we want to offer your guy a scholarship." Last day. So
wow.
they brought him in. They redshirted him that first year. They redshirted him. His freshman year, he came back. He and I tell guys that because everybody want to shoot the long ball all the time. Well, he's a guy that can shoot it, but he wasn't making it. He wasn't making
Mm,
it. So they had to reinvent him. They had like, hey, no more. If you want to get on the court, we need you, go figure out other way to score. So what did he do? He rebounded and he free throw. He led the West Coast Conference in rebounding and free throws,
come on
and
now.
became freshman of the year.
That'll get you
Uh,
on the court right there.
yeah, man, that got him on the floor. And then the next few years, he went on to become when he finished there at Northridge, Cal State Northridge, he became the all-time leading scorer.
Wow. Come on.
All-time leading scorer. So he just worked hard. It didn't have to be about 3 pointers. It was about putting the ball in the bucket. How
Yeah.
can you put the ball in the bucket? So that's one of my stories. And
Can we name drop, coach? Can we name drop or is it
yes, his name is Steph Hicks, Stephen
okay?
Hicks.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Okay.
went on to play professional basketball. And he just retired. He's about to get married
Oh,
in a while.
come on now.
Yeah,
Let's give him his flowers. Yeah.
yeah. And the other kid I was talking about was his brother. But I have a lot of guys that I can go on and on about some of the guys. If I look around in my room, I look at some of the pictures, guys who came in and they were here for a reason. When you had a junior college, you're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Whether your grades are good, you didn't get recruited, you just got overlooked. So you need a different start. So
Oh man. Well, coach, we're going to wrap up our interview. I thank you so much for this
Kiki.
interview. It was great catching up. I think the last time I saw you, I was playing in your league. Is there a way to get a hold of you in terms of if someone wants to come out or, send you their tape or maybe an open tryout or run? How does it work when someone wants to get a hold?
On our website, Pierce College website, my information is on there. So
Okay.
that's the way to
Fantastic.
get up. And
Fantastic.
if they know you, tell them don't call me. Just kidding. No, 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 no,
No,
no,
he's
and,
right about that.
no. So no, but if they know you, you can give them my number. So
Absolutely.
again, Evan, and I'm waiting on his brother to see what his brother gonna do because his brother he can shoot the ball. Right?
Those boys
And
can play, man.
yeah, they
Yeah.
sure can. So
They're great shooters and great kids. They come from a great lot. The father was an incredible player.
yeah, yeah.
Coach, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for having you on the show. And we'll chat soon.
All right, thank you, man.
Thank you.